The 2020 men's and women's MAAC Basketball Championships are heading to Atlantic City's Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall March 10th through the 14th. Visit boardwalkhall.com for tickets. We'll have tickets to give away later on in the show, and one of the teams that will be there is Greg Paulus' Niagra team, which March 10th through the 14th. It's a great event. The winner of the MAAC Championship will head to the big dance, and it's a spot that Coach Paulus is very familiar with, having played basketball at Duke for Coach K. He also played football at Syracuse. I remember that. I remember his basketball, obviously, but a lot of people don't remember that he was the quarterback of the Syracuse Orangemen as well. And now, what a career, man. This guy has been Mr. Basketball in the state of New York, played college basketball at Duke, and had to decide between places like Duke, Syracuse, Georgetown, Florida, North Carolina, and football scholarship offers from, Notre Dame, Miami. Got to be a tough on a young guy. And now he's a basketball coach at Niagra. What a great story, Coach. Appreciate you joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And before we kind of jump into things, I know as a young guy, 33 years old, basketball in your background, athlete in your background, the news of Kobe Bryant yesterday as a coach, I'm sure, probably had some impact on you and your team. I'm sure a lot of the players that you coach grew up watching him, and probably yourself as well.
Yeah, we played on the road yesterday at St. Peter's, and I found out after the game, and just speaking with our players, a similar reaction of just a shock, and those guys expressed, feelings of growing up and looking up to him, and admiring different traits about him. I mean, he's touched so many people in the world globally that you feel for him and his family, but also the other families that were impacted by the tragedy yesterday. So we're certainly thinking of everyone involved in the families from yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm curious because as a guy who got to play for Coach K at your time at Duke, I mean, him and Kobe obviously had a lot of interaction together on those USA basketball teams. At Coach K ever relayed, something from his time coaching that team?
He did. My freshman year at Duke, 2006, was when he was named the USA Basketball national team coach. And, he would come back each summer, the couple summers that I was there, and share stories about LeBron and Kobe and Dwayne Wade. And, he loved Kobe and he loved coaching him. And the stories that he shared of his legendary work ethic and competitiveness, and just being an unbelievable ambassador for basketball, and those stories were certainly told in the locker room as motivation, as inspiration. And I know how much Coach loved his relationship with him and how close they were.
Head coach Greg Paulus, Niagra. The MAAC is coming to Atlantic City. We'll have you guys here. We had the A-10 tournament here in the past. We've had other college basketball tournaments here. This is a pretty cool neutral site for this tournament, which is going to be very unique for you guys.
Yeah, we're really excited to be a part of it. I know that I'm honored to represent Niagara's basketball program as the head coach, and I've never been to Atlantic City, but I can tell you that going through, we've played almost every team so far in the regular season, and I think it's going to be a heck of a tournament. There's been some unbelievable games and finishes, and all the different unique styles with the coaching styles, and then the players and the talent. Something that we're really looking forward to being a part of.
Yeah, and give us a little insight on, it seems from just following from the outside looking in, it looks wide open. It looks like the MAAC this year is going to be very wide open when you guys get to Atlantic City.
I think that, the games are going to be really competitive. With our team, we're really, really young, only having one senior on the roster. And, we're implementing a new style and obviously a new coaching staff. And we have new personnel. 8 out of our 14 players are brand new. And so for us, we're still growing and evolving as a team. And it's been fun to watch our growth individually with the guys and also as a team and program. And then, in terms of, these games, I mean, they're coming down to one possession, and the league from top to bottom is only just a couple games off, almost halfway through it. So I think it's exciting. Obviously, March is as a fan and a spectator, it's the most exciting time because you go from, I know that when I played in it, when I've coached in it, you really want to be the team that can create some special memories and moments, and hopefully we're able to do that.
Coach, how much of your, this is your first year at Niagra, so you're building the program up and you're implementing your coaching philosophies. How much of your coaching philosophies is shaped by your time at Duke and playing for Coach K?
A lot of it is. My foundation for coaching, for leadership, I've been fortunate to coach with some terrific mentors and coaches of mine, but I think that the basics of leadership and communication, relationship, one of the biggest things I took from Duke and Coach is just the standards of which he upholds with his program at Duke, and I was fortunate to be a part of it. Obviously, he was decades into it, and the success is it's unmatched. But from running a program and just seeing his passion and drive and seeing what he did on a daily basis with the players and getting everybody to connect and ultimately be a part of something bigger than themselves, we're trying to implement our standards for Niagra basketball in terms of how we're going to conduct ourselves off the floor and then how we're going to represent our university on the floor.
The MAAC is an interesting conference, and I grew up a little bit in Fairfield, Connecticut, so I know about the MAAC a lot. And every once in a while, some teams come out of this conference that make a little, it must have been 10 years ago, Fairfield actually had a decent team. I know Iona with Tim Kluse has done well there. Monmouth is right now a pretty good team. This seems like a good conference for you to get players to kind of believe that if they can kind of buy into what you're selling, that they can get themselves on a national stage.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity. It's a tremendous league. If you look through the history of some terrific programs and coaches and winning some games in the NCAA tournaments, the MAAC conference certainly has that. And I think that for us to be a part of this and start building our program, we're just at the infant stages of creating that culture. I think that when we're recruiting kids, we're having conversations, we're talking to our players, they're aware of some of those neat moments in college basketball history, and we certainly are proud to be a part of our Richfield tradition with some terrific coaches, Coach Layden, Coach Mahalik, Coach UB Brown. There's been some of those moments from the banners that are hanging in the Gallagher Center on campus that we're very proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, and it seems that if you watch a lot of college basketball, which, I'm a West Virginia guy, so I watch a lot of Big 12, and it seems wide open. It seems that a team could come out of nowhere this year. It seems like a team could be in Atlantic City March 10th through the 14th and maybe make a deep run in the tournament because it is so wide open. And a lot of that's because of what's going on with the one-and-dones and all that kind of stuff, Coach. But what is your opinion on where the college game is and some of the, how wide open not only your conference is, but the entire country is?
Well, I think there's some terrific programs out there, and obviously there's you see who's ranked and then not ranked the next week, and I think one thing going forward, and having some coaching stops at the Naval Academy, Ohio State, Louisville, and George Washington, you sort of see it throughout the leagues that teams continue to evolve throughout the year. So we're not even into February. And so one of the most important things that I know we're trying to do at Niagra, we've tried to do at our other stops, especially playing for Coach K at Duke, is we want to continue to get better. Obviously, there's a lot of things that go into it. You want to be healthy. You want to be playing your best basketball at the right time. But there's so many games and there's so many things that go on. Whether it's you're playing for seeding or you're playing to try to get into the NCAA tournament. For our league, we're trying to just get better so we can be playing our best basketball at the right time. And those are the things that, from our coaching staff standpoint, we want to make sure that we continue to take steps forward because there are so many games and so many things that can happen between now and the next 4 or 5 weeks that can go on within your program.
By the way, speaking of West Virginia, Pat Beeline was the coach before you, correct?
Well, I thought he was, and I thought you were going to go with when they beat us in the NCAA tournament.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I thought that's where you were going to be going with that.
Well, yeah, but Beeline was the coach. Obviously, Beeline's father is now the coach with the Cavs, and Patrick was at WVU. So that's an interesting story there. But I remember watching you play football at Syracuse as well. What was that, like 2009, if memory serves?
It was the 2009-2010 season, and actually that was a very different landscape with college football. Then that was with the Big East, and you had Pittsburgh, and you had Syracuse, and you had West Virginia. You had South Florida. You had a number of different programs in there that now have branched off, like you said, the Big 12, the ACC, and all that. So yeah, we had a great experience there. And Coach Marone's first year, he's with the Jacksonville Jaguars now, and so we were able to learn, and that was an unbelievable experience to get our degree from the Newhouse School of Communications, and have the opportunity to be the quarterback of that team. And I grew up in Syracuse, so that's a special moment for my family and I to get a chance to run out in the Carrier Dome, and we had a great experience, and very, very grateful that Coach Marone was able to give me that opportunity.
Now, how did you make the decision to go basketball at Duke over football, wherever? I mean, it says here Notre Dame. I don't know that that's 100% accurate. I'm just going off of this, but it says Miami, Notre Dame, Duke for basketball. I mean, how did you make the decision to play basketball at Duke or over football at someplace else? Like, was basketball your first love? I mean, had to be an unbelievably difficult decision to make for a high school player at that age?
It was a little bit of a two-step process. Basketball was my first love, and kind of going through the recruiting process, it started much earlier as a freshman and sophomore with football. And I did visit a number of schools, and Notre Dame was one of my final choices there. And, I ultimately decided that basketball is my first love. I want to go and play college basketball. And, and then it was a matter of kind of you visit the schools and go through it, and, have my relationship with Coach K, the opportunity down there with just the whole package that Duke is. To me, it felt right when I visited campus, and that's why I went with Duke. And fortunately enough, we were able to have the football on the backside of it, and that certainly wasn't my intention, but it worked out, as well as I could have asked for.
Now, did you think about playing football at Duke, or would Coach K not allow that?
I did not. I actually remember one meeting with him where we were sitting down, and the question was being asked. A lot of the schools I was looking at that point was for basketball and football. And somehow in conversation it got brought up about playing both at Duke. And Coach shut that one down very quickly. That didn't go further than that's not going to happen.
So, Coach, you said that wasn't your intention going into Duke to play basketball, but like you've detailed, you were one of the first to take advantage of the postgraduate transfer, going from being a star at Duke basketball and then being the starting quarterback at Syracuse football. I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts and cool experiences from that whole process, if you can share them with us, and maybe how you use them today in your current role.
Absolutely. And the way that the process worked out to play football, we ended up losing in 2009 in the Sweet 16, and there was a call from a scout from the Green Bay Packers, and they wanted to have a workout before the draft, coming up there in a few weeks. And as we were kind of preparing for it, I actually thought the first couple of phone calls were that it was some sort of prank or joke. And as we kind of made the phone call back and had some conversations, as I was getting ready to do the workout with the Green Bay Packers, kind of that itch and that love came back to me, and then I was told about the rule where you're able to, if you graduate, if you're able to study something different than what is at your current university, you can make that transition. And I was looking for an opportunity where I could get my degree in 1 year, where I could business communications is something that always has been something I was passionate about, and to get a chance as I went through the recruiting process again, Syracuse had everything that I was looking for, an opportunity to compete for a starting job, an opportunity to be close to home, an opportunity to kind of restart a program. They won 10 games in the previous 5 years, and I met Coach Marone and believed in what he was going to do there, and then I wanted my degree. So it kind of just worked out the way that you hope something does. And I think kind of going through that process, if I had the opportunity to do it again, I certainly would. I had great experiences meeting different people and having, another degree. And from a place like Newhouse, I've built some tremendous relationships. And then who knows down the road what may happen. So I think that's just that opportunity was too great to pass up.
What a great story. And Greg and his Niagra team will be here in Atlantic City for the MAAC Championships. It's the MAAC tournament coming to Atlantic City. Tickets are available at maacsports.com. March 10th through the 14th at Boardwalk Hall. Coach Greg Paulus here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Coach, thanks so much. That was great.
No, I appreciate you having me on. And do I need to bring some Niagara T-shirts down there? Are we gonna represent the purple?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the purple color too.
Purple
That's
Eagles,
a good color
baby.
for my eyes. I got brown eyes. Purple brings them out.
That's what Coach was
That's
thinking.
beautiful. Hey, we're looking forward to seeing you down there, and thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, man. Coach Greg Paulus, we will be doing our show there on that Friday, I believe,
Sweet.
the last
Nice.
day of the tournament at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. That's the Niagara Purple Eagles, as they're known. It's a wide-open tournament. A lot of, Stockton is in our backyard. If you ever watch like D3, NJAC basketball, tough, gritty kids. If you go to watch a Stockton game on a random night, you'll see just really tough basketball being played in the NJAC. This is like an upgraded version of what you'll see at that level. These kids are just, tough kids that play at this level. And I love, me, I'll go to everything that's at the Boardwalk Hall. I just love being in the building, and this is going to be a tournament